7 things evil people do when they know that you know. Stoic philosophy. Evil. It's a word that carries weight, one that sparks an immediate reaction in us, though it's not always easy to define. We don't need a dictionary to recognize it, though. We feel it when it's present. The truth is, evil doesn't announce itself with a roar. It hides in plain sight, cloaked in charm, kindness, and a well-practiced smile. What makes it truly dangerous is that it doesn't just live in distant, dark corners of the world. It often resides in the places we trust most. In our workplaces, our homes, and even among those we consider friends. It's subtle, insidious. But once you see through the mask, once you recognize the manipulative behaviors behind the facade, things change. That's when evil, rather than backing down, becomes more dangerous. It adapts, reacts, and starts showing its true nature. It doesn't always show itself in words. It's often in the small, calculated actions meant to confuse, undermine, and control. In today's video, we're going to uncover the 7 things evil people do when they realize you've figured them out. We'll look at how these manipulative tactics unfold, and how you can use the wisdom of Stoic philosophy to stay grounded and unshaken. This is more than just identifying these behaviors. It's about understanding how to respond with clarity, courage, and resilience. By the end of this video, you'll have the tools you need to recognize these toxic actions and protect yourself from their influence. Welcome to Stoic in Your Life. Number 1. Strange vibrations. Toxic individuals emit a peculiar type of energy that, though difficult to articulate, feels unsettling at its core. It's not always visible or audible, but it is deeply perceptible. An invisible aura of negativity that shifts the atmosphere around them. We live in a world where everything, including people, radiates energy, and our instincts are honed to detect these fluctuations, often before we even understand why we feel uneasy. When someone harbors ill intent, their energy subtly disturbs the environment, creating an instinctual discomfort that signals something is amiss. What once seemed like a warm smile now feels cold, like a mask hiding something more sinister. Casual questions take on a different tone, seeming almost too probing, as if they are trying to manipulate you into revealing something private or vulnerable. These shifts, while subtle, speak volumes. They are an unspoken acknowledgement that they know you've seen through their facade. Their manipulative tendencies, once carefully masked, now spill out in small, deliberate ways, as if to say, "I know you know, and now I'll make you uncomfortable." I've witnessed this firsthand in a professional setting. A colleague, once friendly and supportive, gradually unveiled a different side, competitive, envious, and subtly manipulative. After I distanced myself from them, seeing the truth behind their actions, they changed their approach. Suddenly, they seemed more observant, almost scrutinizing, asking questions designed to unsettle me, and planting rumors to erode my reputation. For a time, this situation took a toll on me. I would lie awake at night, replaying every interaction in my mind, trying to understand how I had ended up in this predicament. Then, I remembered the wise words of Epictetus. We are not disturbed by what happens around us, but by how we interpret it. This insight was a turning point. I realized that the toxic energy they were projecting could only affect me if I allowed it. By choosing not to engage emotionally, I reclaimed my peace of mind. I focused on my own work, not on their games, and slowly their influence began to wane. The lesson here is clear. While we cannot control the actions of toxic individuals, we do have full control over how we respond. When you sense those strange vibrations, the uncomfortable energy shifts, acknowledge them, but don't let them dictate your behavior. Stay composed, stay grounded, and focus on your priorities. Trust your intuition. Often that nagging feeling is your most reliable guide. Your gut knows when something isn't right, and it's this inner wisdom that can serve as your shield against manipulative behaviors. Strange vibrations aren't just a warning. They're a test of your resilience. Passing this test doesn't require reacting to every slight or provocation. Instead, it's about maintaining your equilibrium. As the Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius reminds us, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. When you remain steadfast in your calm, the toxic energy around you loses its power. Their ability to disturb your peace will fade as your inner tranquility grows stronger. In the modern world, where manipulative behaviors can easily creep into personal and professional relationships, embracing this Stoic principle is more crucial than ever. Modern Stoicism teaches us that our peace is not a passive state, but an active practice. When faced with toxic energy, remember that it is not the people or circumstances that disturb you, but your judgment of them. By refusing to let external negativity dictate your emotions, you reinforce your inner strength. The next time you encounter strange vibrations, whether in the form of manipulative coworkers, toxic friends, or envious peers, use them as an opportunity to practice calm. By doing so, you not only protect your peace but also grow stronger, wiser, and more resilient in the face of adversity. Number 2, covering lies with more lies. When a toxic individual is caught in a lie, they rarely admit their wrongdoing. Instead, they double down, spinning more lies to protect themselves and obscure the truth. Lies to them are not occasional slips of morality, but an intricate web they weave to manipulate others. Each lie doesn't merely cover the truth, it adds another layer of deceit, making the situation more confusing and difficult to unravel. What's particularly dangerous is that these individuals often believe their own lies or act as though they do. Their denial is so convincing that it makes you doubt your judgment and question your reality. For example, I once trusted a close friend who approached me for a loan, claiming financial hardship. Out of genuine care, I helped without hesitation. Later, I discovered they had used the money for lavish, unnecessary purchases rather than their supposed crisis. When I confronted them, rather than apologizing, they wove another elaborate story to cover their initial lie. They blamed others, made excuses, and even tried to guilt me for doubting their integrity. At first, I was left confused and hurt. I questioned whether I had misunderstood or been too harsh, but I soon realized that I had been dragged into their cycle of dishonesty, a never-ending loop where one lie begets another. This behavior stems from their inability to face the truth. As Epictetus once said, man cannot learn what he thinks he already knows. Toxic people deceive not just others, but themselves, building their entire lives on illusions. When one lie begins to unravel, they panic. Instead of taking responsibility, they create more lies, hoping to regain control and shift blame. Unfortunately, this pattern doesn't only harm relationships, it erodes their own sense of self and value. The key to dealing with compulsive liars is maintaining clarity and composure. Recognize their behavior for what it is, an attempt to manipulate and regain power. Refuse to get entangled in their web. Don't argue or try to force them to confess. They will rarely admit the truth. Instead, focus on what you know to be true. Lies, no matter how intricately crafted, cannot hold power over you unless you allow them to. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, you are disturbed not by events but by your perception of them. Hold on to your clarity and their lies will crumble before you. Number 3, opportunistic behavior. In today's fast-paced world, we are often faced with people whose motivations are less than transparent. One such behavior is opportunism, where individuals appear to care only when it benefits them and vanish when their needs are no longer being met. This type of opportunistic behavior is one of the most telling signs of toxic individuals in our lives. These people are often charming at first, presenting themselves as generous, dependable allies, offering help, time, or support when you need it. They make you believe they have your best interests at heart. But when their own needs are satisfied, they disappear as quickly as they came, leaving you to deal with the fallout on your own. It's as though they were never truly there for you in the first place, and the connection was only ever transactional. It is a sobering reminder of the nature of opportunism in human relationships, which often operates in a pattern that exploits your generosity and kindness. I remember a colleague who seemed like a genuine friend. At first, he was the model of support, always staying late at work, offering helpful advice and seeming to care deeply about my progress. I felt fortunate to have him as an ally in the workplace. However, when I found myself in a personal crisis, struggling with a major issue that required assistance, he was nowhere to be found. There was no support, no comforting words, and not even a simple check-in to see how I was doing. Instead, after I managed to resolve the problem on my own, he resurfaced with excuses. I didn't want to add to your stress, or I was too busy. In that moment, I saw the truth. He was never my true friend. He had only been around when it suited him, using me as a means to an end, with no intention of offering genuine support in return. This experience made me realize how opportunistic individuals operate with a singular focus on their own advantage. Their kindness is a facade, a tool they use to secure their personal gain. They will appear in your life when it serves them, acting like your closest confidant. But once they have extracted what they need from you, they retreat without a second thought. This can leave you feeling betrayed, as if your trust and kindness have been taken for granted. Yet it is important to understand that these people were never truly invested in the relationship. They were only interested in what they could take from you. As the Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius once said, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one." This wisdom encourages us to focus on our own conduct instead of being consumed by resentment or frustration towards those who take advantage of us. When faced with opportunistic individuals, the Stoic response is one of grace and perspective. It is not worth expending energy on anger or bitterness. Instead, recognize that their departure is not a loss. It is an opportunity to free yourself from a relationship that was always one-sided. By accepting that these people were never truly your friends, you can begin to shift your focus towards those who offer genuine care and support, not because they expect something in return, but because they truly value the relationship. This perspective is central to modern Stoicism, where cultivating meaningful connections rooted in mutual respect is emphasized over superficial interactions. To embrace this mindset means setting healthy boundaries and learning to differentiate between those who genuinely care for your well-being and those who merely seek to exploit it. True kindness, according to Stoicism, is not about being a doormat or blindly trusting others. It is about offering support and compassion where it is deserved, while also being discerning enough to recognize when someone's behavior is driven by opportunism. In these moments, practicing modern Stoicism can help you develop the wisdom to identify toxic behaviors early and navigate relationships with both compassion and resilience. Remember that kindness is not weakness, but it must always be met with respect. Just as Marcus Aurelius reminds us to focus on what we can control, our own actions, by upholding our standards and boundaries, we ensure that we protect our emotional well-being from those who seek to manipulate it for their gain. Cultivate relationships that nourish and support you, and let go of those that drain you. In doing so, you will find that you are surrounded by individuals who genuinely care, creating an environment where opportunism has no place. Now that we've explored how toxic individuals try to manipulate and control us, how have you experienced these behaviors in your own life? Are you ready to take the next step in your journey and become a warrior of self-awareness and resilience? Comment with one of the following two options to show us your commitment. I'm ready to stand strong, or I want to protect my peace. And don't forget to stay until the end of the video. There's more valuable content that you won't want to miss. Let's grow stronger together. Number 4, making you feel inadequate. Toxic individuals often wield the power of subtle psychological manipulation, designed to make you feel small, inadequate, or less capable. Their strategy is insidious, relying on undermining your confidence by creating self-doubt. By turning your vulnerabilities into weaknesses they can exploit, they seek to control you from within. One of their most deceptive tactics is cloaked in the guise of concern or advice. What seems like helpful commentary is often an attempt to destabilize your self-esteem. Have you ever had someone say, "Why didn't you see that coming?" Or, "How could you not think of that?" These remarks may sound harmless at first, even constructive, but beneath the surface, they are intended to make you question your abilities, your decisions, and ultimately, your worth. The goal is clear. They want to create a sense of insecurity, making you feel that your judgment isn't good enough, that you are lacking in some fundamental way. I once experienced this firsthand during a trip abroad. I encountered someone who, at first, appeared to be a supportive friend. However, as time went on, their words started to wear me down. Every time I made a decision or shared an idea, they would dismiss it with remarks like, "Why didn't you think ahead?" Or, "That's so obvious." At first, I brushed them off, but over time, these comments began to chip away at my confidence. I found myself questioning my decisions and doubting whether I was making the right choices. I even started to wonder if I was simply too naive to understand what was happening. It wasn't until much later that I understood the true nature of these remarks. This person wasn't genuinely concerned with my growth. Instead, they were subtly manipulating me, attempting to control how I felt about myself. The more they could make me doubt my abilities, the more power they had over me. This manipulation feeds on your desire for approval and validation. The toxic individual's aim is to keep you insecure, constantly seeking their approval to feel worthy. The more you question yourself, the more control they gain. As they subtly reinforce the belief that you're inadequate, they position themselves as the authority on your worth, making you dependent on their opinion. In this way, their power over you grows, and your sense of self becomes increasingly fragile. But Stoicism offers a profound antidote to this manipulation: the power to control your own mind. Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic philosopher, wisely said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." When you realize that the comments of toxic individuals are not reflections of your true worth, but merely tools to destabilize your confidence, you take back control. These remarks are not about you. They are about the manipulator's need to assert control over your self-perception. The key to overcoming this is to maintain perspective and refuse to internalize their negativity. In these situations, it's crucial to step back and see things for what they truly are: a deliberate attempt to erode your self-esteem. The words of a toxic person do not define your value. Your worth is not contingent on their opinions or approval. Your value lies in your ability to stay true to your principles, to make decisions based on your values, and to confront the challenges of life with clarity and strength. As Epictetus, another Stoic philosopher, put it, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." When you stop allowing toxic individuals to shape your perception of yourself, their power to influence you will diminish. You will begin to see their tactics for what they are, and the hold they once had over your self-esteem will fade. In today's world, where societal pressures and external validation often define success and self-worth, this Stoic principle is more important than ever. Modern Stoicism teaches us that we are in control of how we respond to life's challenges, including the actions of toxic individuals. Instead of internalizing their negativity, focus on cultivating a strong sense of self, grounded in your values and principles. In doing so, you protect your mental peace and strengthen your resilience. Toxic people thrive on your insecurity and self-doubt, but when you recognize their attempts for what they are and refuse to let them undermine your confidence, you break free from their influence. The more you practice this, the more you build an unshakable foundation for your sense of self, one that no one can erode. Number 5. Changing their reputation. When toxic people realize that their true nature has been exposed, they rarely take responsibility for their actions. Instead, they often try to manipulate your perception of them, engaging in dramatic attempts to change how you view them. This is not an apology or an effort to genuinely make amends. Rather, it's a calculated strategy to regain control over your judgment. They will often spin elaborate stories about a troubled past, claim to have changed, or insist that you've misunderstood their intentions. The goal of these efforts is clear: to confuse you. If they can cloud your judgment, they can regain power over your perspective and shift the narrative in their favor. This is a tactic designed to undermine your ability to see the situation for what it really is, leaving you second-guessing everything you thought you knew. I've had a personal experience with this. There was a colleague I once trusted, someone who was well known for being untrustworthy and manipulative. After I uncovered their deceitful actions, I fully expected them to own up to their behavior. Instead, they launched into a compelling emotional story about how they had learned from their mistakes, how their past actions were the result of personal struggles, and how they were now a changed person. Their words were so convincing, so emotionally charged, that for a brief moment I began to doubt myself. Maybe I had been too harsh in my judgment. Maybe I didn't fully understand the context of their actions. But as time went on, I realized that their story was nothing more than a manipulation tactic, a strategic move to shift my perception and deflect from their true behavior. It wasn't an apology or an honest reflection. It was a diversion, a distraction meant to make me question my own observations and to restore their power over me. This is the danger that toxic people present. They are masters of psychological manipulation. They know that perception is a powerful tool, and if they can alter how you view them, they can regain control of the situation. They count on your emotions to cloud your reasoning, to make you doubt your own observations and interpretations. The more they can make you question your judgment, the more power they have over you. This is where the Stoic secrets truly shine. As Marcus Aurelius wisely said, the soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. In situations like these, it is absolutely crucial to maintain clarity in your thinking. The Stoic practice of self-awareness and self-reflection helps you to avoid falling prey to their manipulative tactics. When you know who you are and what you stand for, it's much harder for anyone to shake your perception of reality. It's easy to get swept up in someone's emotional plea, especially when they're playing on your sympathy and trying to present themselves as the victim. But you must remain vigilant. When someone goes to such great lengths to dramatically change their reputation after being caught in a lie or harmful behavior, it's rarely a sign of genuine remorse. More often, it's simply another manipulation tactic designed to keep you under their control. Toxic individuals do not truly want to change. They want to regain the power they've lost through their deceit. This is why it's so important to pause and carefully evaluate the situation. Ask yourself, are their actions aligning with their words? Are they attempting to shift blame or distract you from the truth of their past behavior? These questions are essential for maintaining your clarity and staying grounded in reality. You control how you see the world. Don't let someone else rewrite your version of the truth. Trust your judgment, rely on the facts, and let their actions, or lack thereof, speak for themselves. It's all too easy to get pulled into their web of deceit, but by keeping your focus on the reality of the situation, you will avoid being manipulated. The Stoic secrets of self-awareness and clarity give you the power to resist their tactics. When you stand firm in your perception of the truth, no manipulation can change the way you see the world. In the end, you are the one who holds the key to your own peace of mind, and by trusting your instincts, you can protect yourself from being deceived by the false narratives toxic individuals try to spin. Number 6. Playing the victim. Toxic individuals are often highly skilled in deflecting blame and avoiding accountability, and one of their most manipulative tactics is playing the victim. When they realize their harmful actions have been exposed, they swiftly turn the narrative around, casting themselves as the wronged party. By adopting this victim mentality, they manipulate the situation to make it seem as though they had no intent to harm anyone, or worse, they place the blame squarely on you. Their goal is simple: to make you doubt your own perception of events and feel guilty for even addressing their behavior. This tactic is deeply insidious because it redirects attention from their harmful actions onto you, making it appear as if you're the one responsible for the fallout. This is a classic case of psychological manipulation, where they use your own empathy against you. I recall a situation from my professional life when a colleague, whom I had previously trusted, turned manipulative and deceitful. When I finally called them out on their actions, rather than taking responsibility or showing remorse, they began to act as though I had misunderstood them. They claimed, "I'm sorry if you felt hurt, but I didn't mean to cause you any harm," as though their behavior was merely a misunderstanding on my part. This sudden reversal of roles left me questioning myself, unsure if I had been too harsh. But after reflecting on the situation, I realized this was a calculated attempt to deflect responsibility and manipulate my emotions. The act of playing the victim, especially when it's done so intentionally, can leave you feeling confused, frustrated, and emotionally drained. The manipulator's aim is to make you question your own feelings and experiences, pushing you to feel responsible for their actions. This works because it plays on your natural desire to be empathetic and fair, leading you to want to make things right, even when you've done nothing wrong. However, the Stoic philosophy offers us a powerful lens through which to see through such tactics. Epictetus, a Stoic philosopher, wisely taught, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." This insight is crucial when dealing with individuals who try to manipulate you into feeling guilty for their wrongdoings. The Stoic approach is to maintain your inner peace by recognizing that their behavior is not your responsibility and that you should not allow their victim narrative to distort your sense of reality. In these moments, it's essential to stay grounded in your own truth and not to internalize their guilt-tripping. By focusing on your clarity and understanding, you can prevent yourself from being drawn into their emotional manipulation. Rather than becoming entangled in their web of deceit, remember that their actions are a reflection of their character, not a commentary on yours. When someone plays the victim, they are attempting to regain control over the situation and over you. This is a classic example of how manipulative individuals use power plays to control others' emotions. The Stoic response to this is emotional detachment, not to be cold, but to protect your inner tranquility. You must recognize this behavior for what it is, a power move designed to shift the focus away from their wrongdoings and onto your perceived failure in handling the situation. By cultivating emotional resilience and clarity, you can protect your boundaries and your peace of mind. Modern Stoicism teaches us to set firm limits in relationships, so when others try to manipulate us through tactics like playing the victim, we can avoid getting caught in their emotional snares. The key to navigating these situations is to stay steadfast in your own truth, understanding that the manipulator's tactics are meant to undermine your sense of self. By doing this, you safeguard your emotional integrity and prevent them from regaining control over your emotions. It's also important to remember that this is not just about avoiding manipulation, but also about ensuring that you maintain respect for yourself. In the end, a firm commitment to your own boundaries and values will allow you to navigate these challenges with resilience. By following the Stoic path, you'll learn to stay calm and clear-headed, no matter how many times someone attempts to turn the tables and play the victim. This practice of emotional clarity, rooted in modern Stoicism, will allow you to protect your inner peace while dealing with manipulative behaviors and focus on cultivating healthier, more authentic relationships. Number 7. Manipulation. Manipulation is a powerful and harmful tactic often used by toxic individuals to control others, typically disguised as concern, love, or support. Manipulators are masters at manipulating emotions, creating an environment where you begin to doubt your reality and decisions. At first, their actions may seem supportive, but over time, they erode your confidence, making you question your ability to trust your own judgment. The manipulator's ultimate goal is to make you dependent on their approval, convincing you that they know what's best for you. As this dependency grows, you begin to wonder if you can make decisions on your own or if you need them for guidance. In this way, manipulation becomes a slow, insidious force that undermines your independence and self-esteem, gradually wearing away your confidence until you no longer trust your ability to choose for yourself. I once encountered someone who initially appeared caring and supportive, but over time I saw their true intentions. Whenever I considered a decision, they would subtly undermine my confidence with questions like, "Are you sure you can handle that?" Or, "What if it doesn't work out?" These seemingly innocent remarks gradually eroded my self-assurance. I realized they weren't offering genuine advice. They were subtly pushing me to depend on their judgment and question my own. Slowly, I became more reliant on them, doubting my decisions and unsure of my ability to navigate life without their approval. This experience served as a lesson on how manipulation can chip away at your independence and leave you questioning your own capabilities. Manipulators are experts at exploiting your vulnerabilities, whether those are fears, insecurities, or emotional needs. They know exactly which emotional buttons to press to make you feel uncertain and dependent. One common tactic is to make you believe you need them for validation or support, trapping you in a cycle of self-doubt. The more you seek their approval, the more control they gain over you. However, Stoicism provides an effective defense against this manipulation. As Marcus Aurelius wisely said, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." In other words, your peace of mind is shaped not by seeking approval from others, but by controlling your own thoughts and emotions. Modern Stoicism teaches that true happiness lies in self-reliance and clarity of thought, rather than external validation. When you trust your own judgment and the strength of your mind, you become less susceptible to manipulation. When faced with manipulation, it's crucial to recognize it for what it is: a deliberate tactic designed to undermine your autonomy. Manipulators want you to doubt your abilities, pushing you to seek their guidance rather than trust yourself. Stoic philosophy provides a powerful defense against this kind of control. Epictetus, another Stoic philosopher, taught that no man is free who is not master of himself. The ability to govern your own mind and decisions is the true measure of strength. By recognizing manipulation and refusing to succumb to it, you regain control of your life. This doesn't mean rejecting all help or guidance. Rather, it's about asserting your independence and protecting your peace of mind. Setting firm boundaries is key. You must not allow anyone to interfere with your ability to make decisions, for this is essential to preserving your autonomy. The Stoic approach to manipulation isn't about fighting every emotional battle or rejecting all advice. Instead, it's about developing the wisdom to discern when someone's guidance is genuinely helpful and when it's an attempt to undermine you. When you trust your judgment and stay true to your values, manipulation loses its power over you. In today's world, where manipulation can take many forms, whether in personal relationships, at work, or on social media, it's essential to practice the principles of modern Stoicism. By cultivating self-reliance, setting boundaries, and maintaining mental clarity, you protect yourself from becoming entangled in the toxic web of manipulation. The more you focus on your thoughts and decisions, the less you'll be swayed by the need for external validation. By doing so, you reclaim your independence, confidence, and the ability to live a life aligned with your true self. Have you ever felt like someone made you doubt your abilities or undermined your confidence? How did it affect you? Leave a comment with your answer. "I've been there, but I'm learning to trust myself more." Or, "I'm going to stand my ground and refuse to let them control me." Or, "Their opinions will not define my worth." Don't stop there. Part B will dive deeper into 4 powerful strategies for protecting yourself from toxic manipulation. These lessons could change your life, so stay tuned and don't miss out. 4 strategies to protect yourself from toxic people. Number 1. Setting healthy boundaries. When dealing with toxic individuals, one of the most important actions you can take is setting healthy, firm boundaries. Toxic people thrive on pushing the limits of your emotional and psychological space, often testing your patience and tolerance to see just how far they can go. They don't respect personal space or limits because, to them, manipulation is often the key to controlling others. But when you refuse to set boundaries, you leave yourself open to their influence, and over time, This can drain your energy and well-being. Boundaries aren't just about saying no when necessary. They're about safeguarding your emotional and mental peace. It's about asserting that you have control over your life and will not allow anyone to compromise your well-being, no matter how persuasive or charming they might be. To begin setting boundaries, start by identifying where your personal limits lie. What behaviors, words, or actions make you feel uncomfortable or drained? Is it someone demanding your time when you're already overwhelmed, or manipulating you into feeling responsible for their emotional state? The more clearly you can recognize these triggers, the easier it will be to assert your limits and communicate them effectively. For example, if someone tries to guilt trip you into doing something you're not comfortable with, a calm but firm response could be, "I understand how you feel, but I cannot take on that responsibility." At first, this might feel awkward, but like any new skill, the more you practice, the easier it becomes. The Stoic philosophy teaches us that real strength comes from knowing ourselves, understanding what we value, and being in control of our actions and responses. As Marcus Aurelius said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Setting boundaries is an exercise in asserting your autonomy, a way to declare that you will not be controlled by the whims or manipulations of others. It's important to remember that boundaries are not about being unkind or mean. They're about preserving your peace, your energy, and your mental health. And while toxic individuals may try to challenge or push back against your boundaries, it's crucial to stay calm and firm. Your well-being comes first, and staying true to your limits is the best way to protect it. I had a colleague once who constantly tested my boundaries. Every time I agreed to a small favor, they would take advantage and ask for more, until I was overwhelmed and drained. At first, I was reluctant to say no, fearing it might strain the relationship. But over time, I realized that this behavior wasn't just a sign of someone needing help. It was manipulation. It took some time, but eventually, I learned to set clear boundaries. I started to say things like, "I'm unable to help with that right now," and I stopped feeling guilty. To my surprise, not only did the relationship improve, but I also felt a sense of freedom, knowing that I had taken control of my time and emotional energy. In personal relationships, toxic people may push your limits by guilt-tripping you, manipulating your emotions, or trying to convince you that your boundaries are unreasonable. They want you to feel responsible for their feelings or actions. But the Stoic secrets of clarity and self-awareness can guide you in these moments. Consistency is key. By consistently enforcing your boundaries, you send a clear message that you will not tolerate manipulation or mistreatment. And the more you practice this, the more empowered you will feel, knowing that you're protecting not just your well-being, but also the relationships that truly matter to you. What boundaries have I neglected in my life? What emotional or psychological limits do I need to set to protect my peace and well-being? Remember that the power lies within you. The Stoics teach us that our inner strength is unshaken by external forces, and the most effective way to maintain this strength is by setting clear boundaries and sticking to them. In doing so, you reclaim control over your life, focus on what truly matters, and stop toxic individuals from draining your energy. By honoring your boundaries, you're not just protecting yourself, you're creating space for healthier, more fulfilling relationships. Number 2, trusting your intuition. In the face of toxic people, one of the most powerful tools at our disposal is trusting our intuition. Our instincts, often dismissed or ignored, are frequently more accurate than we give them credit for. When we encounter someone whose presence makes us uneasy, or when their words seem disconnected from their actions, it is not simply a passing feeling. It's our intuition picking up on subtle, often imperceptible cues that our conscious mind might overlook. Toxic individuals tend to present themselves in a way that feels harmless or even charming at first, creating a facade of friendliness and trustworthiness. However, deep down, our intuition can often sense the inconsistencies in their behavior, the manipulations beneath the surface, or the hidden intentions lurking just below their pleasant exterior. These gut feelings are not to be dismissed lightly. as they are early warning signs that can protect us from falling into toxic traps. Trusting your intuition means listening closely to that inner voice that says, "Something doesn't feel right." It's the unease you feel when someone's kindness seems just a little too rehearsed, or when their promises don't align with their actions. If someone's words are inconsistent or deliberately vague, or if their behavior leaves you feeling confused, anxious, or unsettled, it's essential to take those signals seriously. These are the warning signs that can save you from toxic relationships and prevent you from investing your time and energy in situations that ultimately drain you. I recall a time in my own career when I worked alongside a colleague who on the surface appeared to be a team player. They were friendly, helpful, and always eager to lend a hand. Yet something about their energy didn't quite sit right with me. There was a hidden agenda beneath their kindness, something I couldn't quite put into words. Over time, my intuition proved to be correct. This colleague was spreading false information behind my back, attempting to undermine my reputation in order to gain favor with the higher-ups. Had I ignored my gut feeling and dismissed it as mere paranoia, I might have been blindsided by their betrayal. Instead, I trusted my instincts, which led me to distance myself from them, ultimately sparing me from further manipulation and deceit. This experience reinforced the importance of paying attention to those subtle, almost imperceptible signs that our intuition gives us. Stoic philosophy also emphasizes the importance of self-awareness and maintaining clarity of mind. Seneca, the Stoic philosopher, wisely said, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." This quote reminds us that much of our suffering is self-inflicted, often by overthinking or worrying about situations that may not even materialize. In the same vein, our intuition is a form of inner wisdom, and by cultivating awareness, we can avoid unnecessary suffering caused by toxic individuals. Trusting your intuition doesn't equate to paranoia or irrational fear. Rather, it is about being cautious and vigilant. It's about recognizing the subtle cues that suggest something isn't quite right, and choosing to investigate further instead of dismissing your feelings as unfounded. Modern Stoicism encourages us to develop a clear and calm mind, and in doing so, we are better able to differentiate between our true instincts and unnecessary anxiety. If something feels off, it's crucial to trust that feeling and take appropriate action. Your intuition is there to protect you, serving as a powerful defense mechanism against those who seek to manipulate or harm you. By honing this skill of listening to your inner voice, you can navigate the complexities of human relationships with greater clarity and wisdom. Toxic individuals thrive on ambiguity, deception, and manipulation, and when we ignore our intuition, we make ourselves vulnerable to their schemes. On the other hand, by trusting our instincts, we not only safeguard our emotional well-being, but we also strengthen our ability to discern who deserves our trust and who does not. Modern Stoicism teaches us that while we cannot always control the actions of others, we can control how we respond to them. By cultivating a keen sense of self-awareness and listening to our intuition, we can avoid unnecessary suffering and prevent toxic people from taking advantage of us. Trusting your intuition is not about being paranoid or overly cautious. Rather, it's about acknowledging that you are capable of recognizing when something isn't right and taking action to protect yourself. In a world where manipulation is common, your intuition is one of the most powerful tools you can rely on to navigate the complexities of human interaction. The next time you feel that discomfort or sense something is off, trust that your instincts are trying to tell you something. By doing so, you'll empower yourself to make better choices and preserve your peace of mind. Number 3. Practicing emotional detachment. One of the most powerful tools you can wield in dealing with toxic individuals is emotional detachment. This isn't about shutting off your emotions or becoming indifferent to the people around you. Instead, emotional detachment is about maintaining control over your own emotional responses, ensuring that others cannot provoke or manipulate you into reacting in ways that disrupt your peace. Toxic people are expert manipulators. They will test your patience and try to provoke emotional reactions from you, whether through guilt, anger, or fear. Their aim is to control how you feel, and if you let them, they can have a dangerous influence over your mental state. In situations like this, emotional detachment becomes your shield. It allows you to remain calm, centered, and most importantly, in control of your emotional landscape. When you practice emotional detachment, you create a crucial space between what others do and how you respond. Imagine a situation where someone makes a passive-aggressive comment or tries to trigger your anger with a snide remark. Instead of immediately reacting or getting caught up in their emotional manipulation, you take a pause. You breathe, center yourself, and remind yourself that their words do not have the power to dictate your feelings. You have the ability to choose your response, and in that choice you take away their power over you. By responding with calm and clarity, you maintain your peace and prevent them from gaining the upper hand. As the Stoic philosopher Epictetus wisely said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." This mindset is key to understanding emotional detachment. It's about realizing that you can't control the actions of others, but you have full control over how you react. In our modern lives, emotional detachment is particularly important in the workplace or within family dynamics. Let's say you have a colleague who constantly makes negative remarks or a family member who knows how to push your buttons. It's all too easy to get caught up in their drama and respond defensively. I remember a time when I was dealing with a family member who constantly criticized my choices. At first, I would react emotionally, defending myself, getting upset, and feeling like I was constantly on edge. But eventually, I realized that every time I reacted with emotion, I was giving them more control over me. That's when I decided to practice emotional detachment. The next time the criticism came, I paused before responding. I stayed calm and simply said, "I understand you may not agree with me, but this is the path I've chosen." With time, I noticed that the emotional charge in these conversations faded. I stopped feeling triggered, and as a result, the power dynamics shifted. The key takeaway from emotional detachment is that it doesn't mean you should withdraw from relationships or become cold. It's not about distancing yourself from others. It's about preserving your emotional space. You protect your inner peace by not allowing others to dictate your emotional state. Emotional detachment lets you engage with people without being unduly affected by their behavior. Instead of reacting impulsively, you respond thoughtfully, keeping your composure intact. This not only protects your emotional health, but also helps you maintain clarity in your decision-making. In toxic situations, the more you practice emotional detachment, the more you realize that these individuals lose their power over you. They cannot manipulate you if they can no longer provoke a reaction. In the world of modern Stoicism, emotional detachment is a vital practice. Just as the Stoics taught us to focus on what we can control and to let go of what we cannot, emotional detachment is a way to master our responses. It's about recognizing that no one else has the right to dictate how we feel or react. By taking control of our emotions, we can preserve our energy for the things that truly matter, our goals, our well-being, and the relationships that bring us true value. So the next time you find yourself facing a toxic person, remember that emotional detachment is your power. It allows you to respond with clarity, rather than react impulsively. This is the essence of modern Stoicism, finding peace by mastering your inner world, regardless of the chaos in the outer world. The more you practice emotional detachment, the more you'll realize that your peace is in your hands and no one else's. Are you ready to take control of your peace and set stronger boundaries in your life? If so, enter "I'm ready" or "I'm committed to making this change" in the comments below. And be sure to watch until the end. There's a surprise waiting for you that could completely change the way you protect yourself from toxic influences. You don't want to miss it. Number 4. Cultivating self-confidence. When it comes to protecting yourself from toxic people, cultivating self-confidence is one of the most powerful tools at your disposal. Toxic individuals are often skilled at preying on your insecurities, looking for cracks in your self-esteem to manipulate or control you. They'll make attempts to undermine your worth, cast doubt on your abilities, and trigger feelings of inadequacy. But here's the secret. The more you develop a deep, unshakable belief in yourself, the less power their toxic influence will have over you. When you are confident in who you are and what you bring to the table, their attempts to manipulate or destabilize you become less effective. How often have you felt uncertain about yourself in the presence of others, only to find that their words or actions fester and grow in your mind, pulling you further into self-doubt? Think about how different it would be if you could build a barrier against this, a strong internal foundation that shields you from their negativity. The first step in cultivating this confidence is simple, but powerful. Acknowledge your own strengths, skills, and achievements. Recognizing your value, regardless of what others may say or do, is a key part of this process. Toxic people want you to question your worth and abilities because it makes them feel more powerful. But when you've already internalized your strengths, their words don't land as they might have before. Your foundation becomes solid, and their ability to shake it diminishes. Consider this. Have you ever achieved something that you were proud of, but someone else tried to downplay it? Perhaps a colleague or even a friend undermined your accomplishment, making you second-guess yourself. In those moments, it's easy to feel small or unsure. But true confidence comes not from the external validation of others, but from the internal recognition of your own worth. Remember, when you know your value, no one can take that from you. The Stoic philosophers, such as Marcus Aurelius, emphasize the importance of self-knowledge and acceptance. He wisely said, "The best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury." This Stoic secret tells us that instead of engaging with toxic people on their level, we should focus on our own growth and self-respect. Rather than retaliating or getting caught up in their negativity, we should continue to build on our strengths and maintain our internal peace. This not only protects us from their harm, but also helps us become more resilient in the face of adversity. So, what does cultivating self-confidence look like in practical terms? It starts with self-reflection. Take time to recognize your accomplishments, no matter how big or small, and celebrate them. Set and achieve small, manageable goals to build momentum and reinforce the belief that you are capable. Engage in activities that make you feel competent and empowered. Whether it's learning a new skill, taking on a project that stretches your abilities, or simply taking time to reflect on what you've already achieved. Over time, these small acts will accumulate into a deep, unwavering confidence that will make you less susceptible to toxic individuals. Think of someone in your life who exudes a quiet, steady confidence. Do they allow the negative comments or manipulations of others to affect them? Likely they don't, because their sense of self is rooted firmly in who they are. You can do the same. One personal story that comes to mind is from my own career, where I once worked with a colleague who always seemed to find ways to diminish others' achievements. He would frequently make cutting remarks about people's work and accomplishments, especially when he felt threatened. At first, I found myself questioning my worth after hearing his remarks. But as I grew more confident in my abilities and internalized my value, his words lost their sting. I learned to focus on my own growth, recognizing that his attempt to manipulate and control others didn't have to affect my self-perception. Eventually, I could see through his tactics for what they were, a projection of his own insecurities. By continuing to focus on my personal development, I not only defended myself from his toxic behavior, but I also became stronger and more self-assured. Through this experience, I learned that true confidence is an armor that no one can take away from you. It's built on self-awareness and a steady commitment to growth. In a world where toxic people often seek to make us question ourselves, our most valuable defense is a strong sense of self-worth. The Stoic secrets of self-awareness and growth remind us that we are the architects of our own self-confidence. By cultivating this inner strength, we can stand firm in our truth, unaffected by the attempts of others to manipulate or control us. So, ask yourself, how can you build more confidence in your own abilities today? What steps can you take to reinforce your sense of self-worth? By acknowledging your value and committing to your personal growth, you'll build a foundation that no toxic person can shake, and you'll navigate the world with a newfound sense of power and resilience. Thank you for joining us today as we explored the manipulative tactics used by toxic individuals and how Stoic philosophy can help us navigate them. Remember, by recognizing these behaviors for what they truly are, manipulations designed to undermine you, you can protect yourself and maintain your inner peace. With self-awareness, emotional clarity, and resilience, you can deflect their attempts to control you and stay grounded in your truth. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up, share it with those who could benefit, and don't forget to subscribe to Stoic in Your Life. Be sure to hit the notification bell so you never miss out on our upcoming videos, where we continue to explore powerful Stoic insights that can transform your life. Stay true to yourself, protect your peace, and take charge of your journey. Thanks for watching.